staring dead at me. If you don't make me a Big Mac, I will.
This is your emergency broadcast system.
That's when I grabbed a large blade from the knife set on the realized that the mouth that was supposed
She just rocked back and forth. I saw a horrifying face leaning over me and looking directly.
Trevor! I see blood dripping down from his head. Trevor repeatedly. Trevor!
But I could almost see her red flesh. Blood was dripping from those cuts.
What are you doing?
I was driving. A silhouette crossed her path.
Blending
What was more surprising was that one of the female students jumped to her death from our apartment at that daybreak.
behind me. Ooga chaka, ooga chaka. A large slimy glob directly inside Jody's cup. She drops it almost.
What the hell?
Ah!
I'm a changed man. It's me that must have made it. I don't wanna be done. I'm doing all that I can. And everybody hates friends. They can never understand. Can we love? 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 Girl, I know I told you. This ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. Oh, it ain't over. It ain't over.
It's a story about McDonald's. How I was partying with McDonald's thing, but check out the last one that happened. The fish that she came off hours instead of.
This happened to me when I was working at McDonald's. My boss assigned a schedule amongst our staff. I was unfortunately scheduled for the night shift on Fridays. I didn't usually mind as we didn't get a whole lot of business around this time of night. My boss was pretty laid back and didn't mind if I went on my phone during business hours, so long as I got all my work done. I remember dozing off repeatedly due to the fact that I wasn't fully acclimated with the night shift hours. Psst. That's when I heard someone making a psst sound, the kind of sound you make when you try to draw someone's attention. I notice a customer trying to make an order outside, so I quickly greet them with my usual, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order?"
Hi, can I have
I then heard a man say,
I'm joking.
"One Whopper, please." "Yes, I would like one Whopper, please." I couldn't tell if he was being a smartass or not, so I ended up saying, "This isn't Burger King, sir. We don't serve that here." I heard him chuckling profusely after I said that. I quickly checked the security camera, only to see a clown.
Always this
The clown was standing in front of the drive-thru menu without a car.
This platform is
It's not Halloween, why the hell is this guy dressed up like that? I really didn't want to serve this guy, so I decided to use our company policy as a plausible excuse for him to exit the premises. "Hi, sir. Unfortunately, you need to be in a vehicle in order to purchase something here." "If you don't have a Whopper, I'll take a Baconator instead." I now could tell this guy was some random psycho harassing me. I instinctively yelled, "Get the hell out of here before I call the cops!" I cautiously stick my head out the window, only to see the clown no longer there. A couple hours later, near the end of my shift, I notify my boss and fellow employees regarding the situation. They all dismiss my accusations by saying ignorant things like, "Did you get his autograph?" Or, "It was probably some guy that thought it was Halloween." I annoyingly pretend to be amused and head home. The following Friday, it was my time to work the night shift again. I really dreaded working this shift, especially after what transpired that day. I tried to convince myself that it would be highly unlikely that I'd encounter that clown again. As time went on, I remember dozing off as I get startled by another psst sound. I urgently check the security camera, but don't see anyone present. At this point, I genuinely thought I was hearing things due to my subconscious mind thinking about the clown. My paranoia must have been at the peak of its height. That's when I turn my head towards the drive-thru window, only to see the clown staring dead at me. "If you don't make me a Big Mac, I will kill you." "Trevor, My heart sank to my stomach. The clown knew my name! I immediately grabbed my cell phone to call the cops, but my hands were trembling so much that I actually wasn't capable of dialing anything. The clown started banging his head on the glass while screaming my name, Trevor, repeatedly. Trevor, 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 I am not loving it! Trevor, 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 Trevor! I see blood dripping down from his head. I started shouting from the top of my lungs, leave me alone or I will call the cops! The clown runs away as another car approaches the drive-thru lot. I stupidly resume work and wait for my boss to come in. Upon his arrival, I explain the entire situation to him.
Wait.
He then dismisses me by saying,
What does the boss
don't
have a
sweat it,
cut on
kid.
his
It
ear?
was probably some drunk. You can go home now. As he was talking, I noticed a cut on his forehead. I can even see blood start to drip from it. No, it can't be. Goodbye, Trevor. No!
That's why I would never ever fail as a, you know, like it's later on in that day. That's why you say I changed costume and it's later on in the day. Like now I'm back, so we're gonna check out another one. Here we go. Story number 1. Spirit in the
I have always been a huge fan of horror movies. This story is out of that time when the movie Paranormal Activities came to theaters. I went to watch the movie with two of my friends, James and Andy. Needless to
I
say,
watched that thing
we
when I
were
was
thrilled
7.
after watching this movie.
Don't even try.
The concept of moving into a house and witnessing supernatural occurrences gave us an adrenaline rush. One evening, Andy and I went to James's house for a sleepover. We were chilling in James's room. James started to talk about some articles he read online that has claimed haunted houses do exist. I was sitting near his bedroom window and smoking when Andy said, "Chris, give me a drag." I passed the cigarette to him and said, "I have also read such articles. I wish we could visit a haunted house." Andy exhaled smoke out of the window and replied, "Who says you can't?" and started smiling with mysterious eyes. James said in a surprised voice,
No,
"What do you
guys,
mean?"
no, wait.
Andy
No,
turned to
pause,
us and said,
pause. That was not.
"There is
that's
a
not
house
my-
residing near Crystal
I'll
Lake.
show you at the end.
It's a half an hour drive from our town. People say that house is haunted." James scratches his head and said, "Oh, you mean the Millard house?" I was clueless about this place completely, so I interrupted their conversation and said, "What house? Who's Millard?" James immediately got up from his bed and switched on his laptop. He surfed a few minutes and then said, "Yes, I was right. I read about this place. This house has a very horrifying history. Years ago, a man named William Millard lived there. He had a beautiful daughter, but that man was very strict and hardly let his daughter go out of the house. One day, he found out that the daughter was having an affair with their mailman. Mr. Millard got so angry that he lost his senses and pushed his daughter down the stairs. The daughter broke her back and could never walk like a human. Some say she crawled around the entire house at night like a dog. A week after this incident, passerbys called the cops complaining about a rancid smell coming from the house. As the cops entered the house, they discovered Mr. Millard's dead body near the stairs. He fell from the stairs and broke his neck. They found the daughter dead on her bed. I smirked and said, "What is so horrifying about that? The daughter probably took revenge on her father and later killed herself too?" James looked at me with wide eyes and said, "As per the forensic report, the daughter died on 20th March, 1 p.m. in the afternoon on her bed.
My
And
sister's
Mr.
birthday.
Millard's time of death, pronounced 20th March, 1 a.m. at night. There was no sign of forced entry into the house. So yeah, people say the daughter's angry spirit killed her father." Andy said, "Want to check out the place? What say?" James and I agreed to him and we decided to go to Crystal Lake that weekend. I took my brother's car and we left one Saturday evening. We wanted to feel the chills, so we chose to go after dark. I will forever regret this decision. Andy was right. It took us 30 to 35 minutes to reach
for your
there.
own good and
The
your own
place
safety.
Crystal
Do
Lake
never,
was an
don't
appropriate
even
name, as
like
the lake
even
water
don't
was
ever go to
reflecting
an
the
abandoned
entire
house.
starry
Even
night
if you are
skies
thinking
like
for
a mirror.
views, guys, don't.
We parked our car near the lake. It was a
You
full
come out a
moon
different
night.
person, and I'm
The
not
moonlight
different.
was flooding all over the place. The Millard house was standing like a giant on the other side of the lake. We didn't know that to reach the house, we have to cross the lake. Luckily, There were 2 small boats tied to the wooden platform of the lake. The ambiance around us was looking very spooky. Due to the vast open area, we could hear each and every sound. The crickets chirping, the hollow wind passing by, and the churning water waves in the lake. James locked his car and we got onto a boat. James and I started to paddle the boat while Andy fixed our flashlight. When we reached the opposite side of the lake, the house appeared way scarier than it did before. The broken windows were hanging as if they would fall at any moment. Weeds have grown all over the walls of the house. There was no sign of light coming from the house. We stepped on the house porch and pushed the main door. The main door opened with a loud creaking noise, signifying no human being entered here in decades. Andy flashed the light inside, and almost a colony of bats flew overhead, scaring the shit out of us. I said in a tensed voice, "Guys, are you all sure about this?" Andy replied, "Come on now, stop being a kid."
As soon as
James and Andy got
I'm
inside,
going
and
now,
I
never
had to
come
follow
back.
them. The entire house was in darkness. The only source of light was our one flashlight and the pale moonlight coming out of the broken window. We realized we are standing in the living room of the house and noticed a huge stairway lying in the middle of the room. James said in a low voice, "This is the stairway from where Mr. Millard fell down and died, breaking his neck." Cobwebs and dust were surrounding all over the house. I even saw a few bats hanging from the ceiling of the house. Andy flashed his light towards the left corner and said in a mocking voice, "Check this out, guys." We saw a painting hanging on the left corner wall. We went there and saw an oil painting featuring an old man with an angry-looking face standing near a fireplace. And just
What to do with all that?
James said, "Hear what, Chris?" Before I could tell what I just experienced, I heard Andy say from upstairs, "Come on now, enough with your girly tantrums." I felt very insulted and decided not to speak a word to Andy. As I walked upstairs, I heard the wooden stairs creaking with the pressure of my feet. After reaching upstairs, I saw James and Andy standing in front of a closed door. I asked, "What's wrong?" James replied while turning the doorknob, "I think the door is jammed. It's not opening." Andy told, "Hold the light. Let me try." Andy tried really hard but couldn't open the door.
He's gonna enter
We
the
were
kid,
standing
walk to the
there in front of the
outside,
closed
I'll
door
laugh
and
at
thinking about what to do next just when we heard a giggling sound. Everyone got shocked by the sudden sound. I said in a panicked voice, "James, I've heard this sound downstairs. I think we should leave now. We had enough, guys." Andy flashed the light all over, but we couldn't see anyone. Then he said in a curious voice, "Maybe the sound is coming from this room." I don't know if you will believe me or not, but suddenly, the doorknob clicked on its own and the door opened. We immediately looked at the room. It was an old, dusty room. There was a small, torn-out, dirty bed lying in the middle. The pale moonlight coming from the window made the room quite visible to our eyes. We were about to step into the room when we heard the giggling sound again. It was the sound of subdued laughter of a female voice. The hair at the back of my neck stood up. I said in a whispering voice, "Guys, let's go." Suddenly, James pointed out on the side of the bed facing the window and said in a scared voice, "What? What is that, Andy?" I felt as if a dog-like creature was sitting near the window, but it was too dark for us to see things clearly. Andy pointed the flashlight into that direction and our blood turned cold. There was a girl on the ground near the window. She was standing like a frog. She was facing the ground. For a moment, none of us could utter a single word. It was as if all of our hearts stopped the very moment and we can't move anymore. The girl lifted her face and the flashlight started to flicker. We couldn't see her face clearly due to the flickering, but then the light kept switching on and off for no reason. And with every flash of light, we could see the girl's vicious face with changing expression. With the first flash, we saw her sad face. With the second flash, we saw a huge ear-to-ear smile on her face. With the third flash, we saw her expressionless face with wide eyes as if she can see through us. We were so shocked that we almost forgot to run. Just then, the girl made the same spine-chilling giggle and started to crawl towards us vigorously like a hungry demon. We all finally got our senses back and started to run for our lives. James and I were in front and Andy was running behind us. James kept saying, "Run, run!" Andy was screaming like a 10-year-old saying, "Don't leave me here! Please! She is behind me!" We reached the main door and turned around for Andy. We saw Andy was almost halfway on the stairs and the girl was crawling behind him, following him like an animal. Somehow, we all managed to get out of the house and jumped on the boat. Andy dropped the flashlight on the lake in a fit of fear. James and I started paddling like maniacs. Andy was sitting on the boat, facing his back at the house. He got so freaked out that he kept saying, "I can still hear her evil laughter. Paddle faster, faster." James and I realized that he has gone into shock, because as far as our eyes went, there was no one in front of the house. James said in a low, panting voice, "Maybe she can't leave the house." I didn't say anything, just kept paddling. I still don't know how we managed to return home that night, but ever since this incident, news about any haunted place makes me sweat.
That was a count from 9 to 10. Anyways, thank you so much for everyone watching. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe, and be blessed. Guys, PG-13. If you guys are legends and you can watch through this thing, go ahead. The Coachella.
This is a story that happened a few years back when I was in my early 20s. It was a Friday morning when I was getting ready to meet up with my friends from college to head to Coachella. My friends were always excited every time we brought up Coachella, as they were extreme EDM freaks that loved to rave and party like the majority of students on campus. I personally didn't like EDM and was more of a rap kind of guy, but I always attended the events as Coachella usually hosted special guests and special appearances, so that made the idea of going much more appealing to me. Another reason I enjoyed going was the guaranteed barrage of beautiful females that would usually show up to these types of events. I remember my friends meeting up at my place to do our usual pre-drinking routine, which was something we always did prior to any events similar to this. I recall taking multiple shots with my female friends Jody and Mika, while my friend Nick watched us as he was unfortunately the designated driver. Cheers to getting wasted and not kissing someone that's related.
Cheers! Cheers!
I guess I'll cheer with this. That's when we got inside Nick's vehicle and began to drift off onto the freeway, finally making our way to the much anticipated event we've been geeking about for months on end. The ride usually took us about an hour and a half to get there, but seeing as Coachella was a large event, it prolonged the trip by another hour or so due to the traffic from the Coachella attendees. When we finally reached the destination, Nick parked his car in the pre-designated lot as we began to make our way inside the Coachella premises. The view was extraordinary. I always got a huge boost of serotonin from the incredible visuals being displayed. I legitimately felt like every time I attended music festivals of this magnitude, it was always equivalent to being a kid in a candy shop. The majority of people I saw were, of course, the usual hipsters and jocks who would always have that one person in the group annoyingly vlogging every minuscule second of their experience.
Divine.
Then, of course, there were the extreme EDM ravers who always went over the top with their flamboyant outfits. But then there was that one occasional overaged creep who always looked out of place in events like this, considering the majority of guests were usually in their 20s and early 30s. I recall this one guy looking like he was in his late 40s, possibly 50s, from the beer gut hanging down from his trousers and the rough-aged look he had on his face. I usually couldn't care less who attended these events, but this guy gave me straight-up predator vibes from the way he was lurking around the women. That's when the man eventually catches me looking at him. I nonchalantly look away as I can see the man in my peripheral vision approaching our group. We all awkwardly stare at him as he begins to catcall my friend Jody by saying,
"Hey, sweetie, you want me to rock your world by adding a little something something to your drink?"
Like what?
That's when he begins to gargle up a load of saliva in his mouth and spits out a large slimy glob directly inside Jody's cup. She drops it almost instantaneously in disgust.
What the hell, dude?
Yo, what the hell is your problem?
Hey, I wasn't trying to rock your world, dimwit. I was talking to Miss Mellons over here.
Get the hell away from us or I'm calling the cops.
Next time, say it a little louder, so that the cops can actually hear you.
He walks away as we began to head over to another vendor opposite to where the man was walking to grab more drinks. As the night went on, I was so plastered, all I saw was nothing but hallucinative imagery while fanboying over the performances that were currently on stage. This happened for about 2 nights straight, as me and my friends would get completely wasted and pull all-nighters throughout our whole experience at Coachella. On the last night, I remember my friend Jody was sitting on my shoulders, which was a common thing for females to do during festivals like this. I recall a man in the midst of the crowd staring at my direction. I honestly couldn't tell if I was hallucinating or not, but all I can remember was that the man was standing in the opposite direction away from the stage as opposed to facing it. At first glance, I couldn't make out who it was, but then I realized that it was the same guy from before. This obviously had a million red flags written all over it, as no person in their right state of mind would look at the audience's direction throughout the entire duration of a live performance.
Like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Ah!
What's wrong?
I just need to use the restroom.
Mark, is everything okay? Do you need me to walk you there?
No, I'm fine, Jody. Just wait here, okay? That's when I began to run towards the porta potties as I desperately needed to vomit.
This man, you're showing us everything.
Jesus Christ. I recall
My
sitting
Lord
on
and
the
Savior.
toilet seat trying to regain some of my consciousness back, in hopes that I could sober up and join my friends at the concert again. That's when my entire world began to shake. No, I mean literally, my entire world began to shake as the porta potty began violently shifting back and forth. What the hell is going on? Somebody help me! Help! I was so intoxicated, I genuinely thought I was experiencing an earthquake. The porta potty then abruptly stopped shaking as I hear a shallow voice whispering, "I decided to rock your world too." That's when I immediately got out of the porta potty and surveyed the circumference of my surroundings, only to see no sight of the man. "Are you okay, sir? I heard you screaming." I began to sprint towards the sleeping area where designated tents were, as I really needed to get some rest. I then got inside my tent and curled up in my sleeping bag, in hopes that I would sleep off my intoxicated state. I made sure to update my friends by sending a quick text in the group chat, just so they knew my whereabouts as I began to drift off. About 5 minutes later, I recall my friend Jody approaching the outside of my tent saying,
Hey babe, is everything okay?
I told her, yeah, I think I am.
I want to give you a kiss.
Okay.
Here, pass me your phone. I want to remember this moment forever. Kiss me! Kiss me! Kiss me! Kiss me! Kiss me! Come on, kiss me! Kiss me!
That's when I opened my eyes, only to be awoken by my friends. The festival had unfortunately came to an end, and it was time to make our departure home. I remember sobering up on the ride home while praising my friend Jody by saying, "Hey Jody, I just want to thank you for consoling me in the tent. It means a lot."
Anytime. But when did I console you?
Jody, you kissed me in the tent, remember? Ooh, didn't know you guys were a thing.
Mark? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's when I pulled out my phone as I remembered Jody taking a selfie of us kissing. But what I saw on my phone literally made me sick to my stomach. There were about a dozen selfies of me and that man laying next to me in the tent while I was passed out drunk.
And that settles it. Yeah. Okay, that thing was, I would say, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because, you know, I would say it was scary, but also, you know, not that scary because, you know. And why here?
I was about 10 years old. There was a small wooden house next to our schoolyard. That house belonged to an old man named Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith stayed in the house with his old wife. His wife loved children, maybe because they didn't have any of their own. All the kids called her Trick-or-Treat Granny. Every year, during the night of Halloween, she used to give all the kids
Trick-or-treat
lots
Granny.
and lots of candies, more than any other person living in our area. Every Halloween night, my friends and I used to run to her house and get as much candy as we could. She was old, but always smiling. Every year at Halloween night, she used to sit on her house porch with buckets of candy and give them away to every passing child. The town loved her for spoiling little kids. Mr. Smith also smiled at us whenever we went there. Perhaps he liked watching Miss Smith being happy while seeing all these kids. A week before Halloween, I went to buy groceries with my mom. She told me to get her some apples from the
With
fruit
my
basket,
man.
which was on the left corner of the small
Again, they
local
go
store.
by.
I went there
Lily
and
Power.
started taking apples into my trolley, just when I felt someone standing behind me. As I turned back, I saw it was Trick-or-Treat Granny. She stood behind me, waiting her turn to get fruits. I always felt happy whenever I saw her, as she smelled like candy all the time. But this time, I didn't feel that way. Granny's eyes were a bit puffy, surrounded by dark circles. She smiled at me, but her smile was full of pain. My mom noticed us and came to talk to her. We came to know that she's not well these days. My mom waited till she finished her grocery shopping, and we gave her a lift home. When we reached her house, we saw Mr. Smith standing at the gate with a very angry face. Granny got out of the car and walked slowly towards him. We heard Mr. Smith yelling, "The doctors told you not to leave the house and take rest. Why don't you listen to me?" I overheard Granny replying, "Halloween is coming. I had to buy candy for the kids. I am all fine, don't worry." I felt grateful, thinking how much she loves us, that she went to buy candy for us, even in this bad health condition. After this incident, a few things started to become weird. Whenever we used to walk to school, we would notice Trick-or-Treat Granny sitting at her porch with her knitting wool and waving at us. But the next day, we didn't see her there. Not even the day after tomorrow. We came across Mr. Smith 3 or 4 times, but he was always busy going somewhere. 2 days before Halloween, I went to the playground to play with my friends. On our way back, we took the road near Granny's house, just to check to see if she was sitting on the porch or not. As we reached the house, we saw Mr. Smith rushing to the house with another man who seemed like a doctor. We realized that Granny is still sick, and we all felt a bit sad for her. The Halloween fever took over our town, as every shop and hangouts started to get dressed in Halloween decoration. But just before 2 days of Halloween, we all came to know that Granny was being hospitalized for serious heart trouble. Mr. Smith had to stay with her in the hospital. Every kid got really sad, realizing Halloween will not be the same without her. But I prayed to God for her recovery and decided to visit her after she comes back.
So you're praying to God for
the day
recovery,
before
but you celebrate Halloween.
My mother took me to the store to buy my Halloween costume.
Okay.
I always wanted to dress as Superman, so my mom bought me the magical-looking blue and red Superman costume. As I came back home, me and my dad started to put up all the Halloween decorations. After a tiring evening of work and excitement, I went to bed and fell asleep. At night, I had a very peculiar dream. I saw Trick-or-Treat Granny sitting at our house porch with candies in her palm and calling me, saying, "Come here, come on." She was smiling, but her eyes looked the same as that day on the grocery store. I woke up and realized it was morning time. The final day of Halloween came. Our long-distance relatives came to our house, hence everyone was busy having a fun time. Being among all those people, I forgot about the dream. In the evening, my school friends came wearing their Halloween costumes. We were all looking funny. I got into my Superman costume and went out to collect candies with my friends. Every kid was busy collecting candies. My friends and I also went to the nearby houses and started collecting candies. The last house in our neighborhood was connected with our way to school. After collecting the candies from that house, my friends decided to head back home. I needed to pee badly, as I remembered drinking 2 cans of orange juice before leaving the house. I told my friend to start walking and that I will catch up eventually. Now, you can all understand peeing wearing a Superman costume was a tough job. I walked to the corner of the street and helped myself, which took me enough time. After finishing, when I looked up, I saw my friends were already gone. I lifted the candy bucket in my hand and decided to head home too. Just when I was about to turn, I noticed a flash of light coming from my right side. As the school road laid ahead on my right, I could see Granny's house in some distance. Being the only house near school, it wasn't that difficult to spot for anyone. What seemed strange to me was the house light was on. I knew there was no one in the house, then how come the room lights are on? I was a brave kid, hence, I thought to check it out. I was curious too. I walked towards the house, and as I reached the front door, I heard footsteps inside the house. I knocked on the door and said, "Anyone inside?" I thought it might be some stranger breaking into their house, but the response I got shocked me. I heard Trick or Treat Granny's voice. She said in a mellow voice, "Come on, I am waiting for you with candies." I was more than happy to know that she came back all well. I pushed the door open and entered the house. I have never been inside this house, so seeing it for the first time made me a bit shy. There was a couch on the dining in front of a TV set, and stairs were leading up to the second floor. I said in a loud voice, "Granny, where are you?" She muttered from upstairs, "Come up, kid. I am here." I walked up the stairs following her voice. As I kept walking, she kept talking. "I am waiting for so long, but no other kid came. Glad you came. I bought so many candies. Come and have it." As I reached upstairs, I saw a room at the end of the hallway. Pale yellow light was coming out from that room. I walked inside and saw Trick or Treat Granny laying on the bed, facing her back towards me. I could see that her body has become extremely lean, as if she has lost a huge amount of weight in just a few days. I guessed it was because of her sickness. She didn't turn towards me. Instead, lifted her long, lean arm, grabbing a handful of candies. "Come to this side. I am not well. I can't move much," she said in a frail voice. I felt like her voice was coming from a long distance, though she was lying just in front of my eyes. She started to laugh in that voice, and I felt something was odd. A feeling rushed down my spine that suddenly told me I shouldn't be here. I told her, "You take a rest today. I will come back some other time. Also, it's late. I probably should go home now." I was just about to leave when I heard a huge thumping sound on the wooden floor, as if someone jumped on the ground from a higher place. I turned back and my skin crawled. The blood in my veins clotted. I couldn't believe my eyes. Granny was sitting on the floor like a frog. Saliva was dripping out of her mouth. Her eyes were blood red. She gave me a terrifying smile and said in a demonic voice, "Trick or treat," and started hopping towards me violently. I ran for my life. I even tripped on the stairs and hit my head. I was bleeding, but I didn't stop. I could hear the loud thuds of Granny jumping on the wooden floor as she chased me. As soon as I got out of the house, I slammed the front door behind me and ran away. I woke in the morning on my bed. My mom and dad got really worried as I didn't come home with my friends. They came looking for me and found me on the way to our house. I was lying unconscious on the road. After waking up, it all felt like a nightmare. But when my mom asked me what happened, I told them everything. I saw the look on their face changing as I told them all the details. When I finished, my mom hugged me to her chest and started crying loudly. My dad didn't say a word and left the room quietly. My parents didn't give any reason behind this reaction until I grew up. I came to know that Trick or Treat Granny passed away on Halloween evening due to a heart attack. They heard from Mr. Smith that she was in a lot of pain when she died. Her tongue came out of her mouth with saliva dripping from it. Her eyes turned all red from the blood clotting under her pupils. I didn't talk for an hour after hearing this. I felt sorry for her, thinking how much pain she has to go through on her last days. But I will never be able to forget that horrible side of her. Till today, on Halloween nights, I feel scared that she might come to visit me again.
A rate of skill.
Rocking chair. She didn't turn her face towards me and made a single sound. She just rocked back and forth. I saw a horrifying face leaning over me and looking directly into my eyes.
Were so deep that I could almost see her red flesh. Blood was dripping from those cuts.
What are you doing?
She then lifted her face.
Don't worry, one day I will end up hitting that note, and yeah. So it's been long, guys, but I'm back like I never left. I'm back like I never left. I'm back. Yeah. So today we are reacting to scary horror stories, and guys, announcements. I have announcements to say. Your boy is finally a singer. Yeah, tin 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 tin. Yeah. So like now I'm finally a singer. Now, so like soon I'll quit doing reacting to horror stories and I'll start posting my own music video. You know, just dream big and don't be negative. But I know there's some of you here being so negative and futek. So you know, soon I'll post my own music video, and of course it's Christian, everything gospel for me. Hop to it. Let's go. I'm out. Goodbye. Yeah. Woo!
I'm a changed man. You mean that much to me? I don't wanna be done. I'm doing all that I can, and everybody hates Chris. They can't understand. Can we love? 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 Girl, I know what to do. This ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. Oh, it ain't over.
My name's Jonathan, and there was a time when I used to suffer major sleep paralysis episodes. I used to wake up in a vegetative state where I knew I was conscious, but there's no way I could move my body. And during that state, I experienced some pretty bad hallucinations. These episodes occurred so frequently that I still can't figure out how much of it I hallucinated and how much of it actually happened. Because there is this one time where things got real, freaking the hell out of me. In the beginning, it started with me waking up at night feeling stuck in my own body. I could see, feel, hear everything around me, but couldn't act on it until my body was released. Slowly, this state turned into a more complicated condition. For example, I woke up one night and saw myself standing near the bed and watching myself.
Hey, imagine.
I can't tell you how terrified I was after breaking free. I decided to see a psychiatrist for this. Dr. Berman gave me sleeping pills and said with time that it'll pass. He said there's no particular treatment for sleep paralysis other than improving sleep habits, including going to bed at the same time every night, ensuring a comfortable sleep environment free of distractions, and avoiding caffeine before sleeping. I followed his instructions, and for a month I did quite well, but things took a bad turn all of a sudden. One night, I dozed off on my living room couch, and it happened again. There's not much furniture in my apartment because I recently moved in. Apart from the couch, there's a TV set, a lamp, and a rocking chair. The chair was already in my apartment before I moved in. I think it belonged to the previous tenant. and I let it be as it was extra sitting arrangement for me. I woke up with the same feeling of being stuck, but this time, neither I saw myself, nor I felt alone. Instead, I saw someone sitting in the chair and rocking back and forth. I could tell it was a woman, probably in her late 70s. The most terrifying thing about experiencing sleep paralysis is that you will know that you're awake, but you'll also know that you're seeing something that isn't there in real life. I knew there's no one in this apartment except me when I saw this woman sitting in her rocking chair. She didn't turn her face towards me and made a single sound. She just rocked back and forth. This phenomenon started to occur every night, but I was confident that it was all my imagination, because as soon as I broke free from the state of trance, the lady was gone. I told my psychiatrist, Dr. Bergman, about this, and he too said the same thing, that it was nothing but mere hallucinations. I opted for meditation before going to bed, because Dr. Bergman said it would help my sleep, and I did it for a few weeks. I was almost feeling relieved that I stopped having further episodes, until one night, I experienced a living nightmare. I had a friend over. Let's call him Matt for the sake of the story. Matt and I watched a football match and drank a couple beers. Matt drank a bit too much, so he stayed the night at my place. Around 3 a.m., I heard heavy breathing from a very close distance. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw a horrifying face leaning over me and looking directly into my eyes. Her white, frail hairs were all over me. It was that woman who rocked in the chair. I wanted to scream, but I realized that I was having an episode and started telling myself that it wasn't real, that this is all my imagination. The woman then spoke to me. "You think I'm not real, huh?"
Check that love.
I was gasping for air, as I couldn't breathe out of this shock. She got up and started walking to Matt's side of the bed. I watched her approach my friend with a sinister smile. She slowly came near him and then leaned on him in the same manner. Her jaws then started to stretch into a huge hollow mouth and started devouring Matt's head. She was eating my friend's head like a python gulps its prey. Saliva was dripping from her mouth, and Matt's head was completely inside it. I can't explain how terrifying that scene was. She looked at me with her hungry eyes while sucking the life out of my friend. I wanted to break free and pull Matt out of her mouth, but I couldn't do anything but lie like a living corpse. Suddenly, my alarm went off and I sprung on my bed screaming. Matt woke up with this shock, and the lady was nowhere to be found. "What the hell, bro? What happened? That woman, she was..." And I passed out without finishing my sentence. Matt took me to the hospital. The doctors thought I had a panic attack in my sleep, due to the fit of intoxication. My psychiatrist, Dr. Bergman, was also informed, and I stayed in intensive care for a week. Matt still doesn't know what I saw that night, and I don't think I'll ever be able to tell him. I no longer live in that apartment, but before leaving it, I asked the landlord about the history of that rocking chair, to which he told me. Many years back, this apartment was a healthcare unit for mentally deranged people. They had lots of violent patients, among which one patient was the most dangerous. It was a 65-year-old lady who couldn't stand children in her sight. She was brought to the unit after trying to devour a newborn from a local hospital. People claimed her to be possessed, and some even thought she was a practitioner of witchcraft at her young age. She used to sit in that chair and rock back and forth all night and all day. After knowing, I don't think anyone could have stayed in that apartment. But the surprising thing is that no one lived there before I saw this lady, or experienced anything of the sort. I don't know if I imagined her completely, because I knew nothing about her when I started hallucinating her. The other most terrifying thing is that last week I met Matt in a nightclub. He was there partying with his colleagues. I noticed a ring of bruises on his forehead, which wasn't there before. As I asked him what happened to his head, he gave me a very weird reply. He paused and looked at me for a few seconds, and then said, "I must have fallen from my rocking chair."
2017. The day I went to watch the last match of the Test Series, Australia versus England, with my sister. My sister and I are huge cricket fans. My favorite player is Steve Smith, who eventually became player of this series. I went to watch this match just to see his extraordinary playing skills. The match was held in WACA ground in East Perth, Western Australia. My sister's boyfriend knew someone from Stadium Authority. He managed to get us 2 front row tickets. I was very excited about the whole day. I thought watching Smith playing live for the first time is going to be a dream come true. My sister took the day off from the office and we left for the stadium in the evening. Our house wasn't far from the stadium, so it only took us 20 minutes to reach there. There were huge crowds of people lining up outside the stadium. Most of them were Australian supporters. I could see yellow jerseys flooding all over the entry gate. I wore an Australian jersey too. I bought it online, especially for this moment. My sister told me to wait on the line and went to park the car in the parking lot. I could hear people cheering for Australia even before the match began. Everyone was clicking pictures, posing in front of the Australian team placards kept outside the stadium. When my sister returned, I told her to click my photo with the placard of Steve Smith put up near the stadium gate. We showed our tickets to the guards and entered the stadium. As far as my eyes went, I could only see the heads of people. The entire environment felt amazing. Fans were cheering. The mics were broadcasting commentaries. The huge LED screen started to highlight the green, vast ground in front of my eyes. I was completely overwhelmed with joy. This was my first live cricket match, and I was cheering with the top of my lungs for my team, Australia. The umpire called the captains of both teams for the toss. The crowd got louder as soon as Steve Smith entered the ground. England won the toss, and they decided to bat. We sipped cold drinks and munched popcorn while watching this exciting match. My sister and I clicked a dozen pictures, and we were having a great time. I couldn't realize how time flew away. I drank a lot of cold drinks and suddenly felt the need to go to the bathroom. There was still time for the interval, but I was having an emergency, so I told my sister, I need to go to the bathroom. She asked me, will I be able to go alone or not? I confronted her saying, I will be absolutely fine. My plan was to go to the washroom and get back to my seat as soon as possible. I didn't want to miss Smith no matter what. So I got up and made my way to the exit, walking amongst the crowd. After reaching the exit gate, I saw a security guard standing there. I went to him and asked, which way is the women's washroom? He pointed towards a long hallway to my left and said the washroom is at the end of the hall. I started to walk down the hallway. The cheering of the audience was resonating in the entire hallway. Every time the audience clapped in joy, the stadium reverberated. But as I walked away from the exit ground, the sounds of the stadium kept fading away. It was a long, wide passage surrounded by white walls. Tube lights were hanging from the ceiling. Some of the lights were flickering as I walked towards the bathroom. The washroom was completely empty. I went to the third bathroom on the right side. As I locked the door and sat down to do my business, I heard a sound. It felt like someone just entered the bathroom next to mine. I already said the hallway was long and wide, hence, if someone else entered this area, she has to enter with me. There was no way someone could walk the hallway without being noticed by me this entire time. Anyways, I decided to finish off quickly and get back to my seat. I was just about to get out when I heard a soft sobbing sound from the bathroom next to mine. I unlocked the door and came out. The washroom lights were flickering in a very spooky manner. There was no sound, except the sound of water dripping from the tap. I paused and tried to listen closely. There was no sign of another person inside the washroom. I started to wash my hands, just when I heard someone weeping again. The weeping voice of a woman was coming from the bathroom beside mine. I noticed the door of that bathroom was locked from the inside. I walked towards it and knocked on the bathroom door. I asked in a tense voice, "Ma'am, are you all right?" No answer came, but her weeping grew louder. I realized there was a woman inside this bathroom. I knocked again and said, "Do you need any help?" This time, the woman started to cry out loud. I felt like she was going through a lot of pain. I didn't know what to do. I again knocked on the door and said, "Do you want me to call the security? Is everything fine?" This time, her cry changed into growling. I panicked, thinking she might be feeling sick or something really bad has happened to her. I started to bang on the door with my wrist. After 4 or 5 thuds, the door lock opened with a clinking sound on its own. I felt relief, thinking she finally opened the door, and now I can see what's the matter with her. I pushed the door with my hand and saw a woman sitting on the toilet seat. The lights were flickering so much that it was being very difficult for me to notice her properly. She was hiding her face into her palms. I asked, "Hey, are you all right?" Suddenly, the lights stopped flickering, and what I saw almost gave me a heart attack. Her wrists were slashed with a sharp knife-like object. The cuts were so deep that I could almost see her red flesh. Blood was dripping from those cuts. The floor underneath her was all covered with blood. I gasped and took a few steps back. I wanted to run, but something trapped my leg on the ground. I breathed heavily and said, "What are you doing?" She then lifted her face and looked directly into my eyes. I have never seen such a vicious face. Her eyes were bursting out of her eye sockets. Her mouth was filled with blood. She opened her mouth as blood came gushing out of it. I ran towards the door, but it slammed on its own and got locked. I started to twist the handle, but the door wasn't open. I kicked the door. I started to scream, but nothing was happening. I turned back and saw the woman coming out of the bathroom crawling on the floor. My legs couldn't hold my body anymore. I fell to the ground. I was gasping for air. The blood in my veins started to turn cold. She kept crawling towards me like an animal. It was a horrible sight to witness. The more she crawled on the ground, the more blood out of her wrist and mouth. I tried to scream, but no sound came out of my mouth. When she was just 2 hands distance away from me, I heard someone twisting the doorknob. The door opened, and as I slowly fainted, I saw my sister standing near me. I woke up in the hospital the next morning. My parents were sitting right beside my bed. I saw my sister talking to the doctor. They all looked very worried. I heard from my sister that she came to look for me after noticing I was taking too much time in the washroom. When she reached the washroom, she saw the door was closed. As she pushed the door to open, she saw me lying unconscious on the floor near the door. The stadium authority called for an ambulance, and my sister admitted me to the hospital. The doctor said I had a nervous breakdown due to a sudden shock. My sister also thinks I fainted in the bathroom after getting scared of being alone. I don't know how will I ever tell her that I wasn't alone in that bathroom. But after I came from the hospital, she gave me an even more chilling news. She said when the helpers were taking me to the ambulance, the security guard told her this is the 3rd time someone fainted in the women's washroom. The guard said, before me, 2 other girls were also found lying unconscious there. He told my sister that since a college girl committed suicide in the 4th bathroom of the right corner, these weird incidents have started to take place. The stadium authority was planning to rebuild this section, but due to the ongoing test match, the construction work has been put on hold. I don't know if whom I saw was a real ghost or just my imagination, but since then, I am very scared to go to any public washroom alone. One incident turned my first test match experience into a living nightmare.
My friends Turner and Harry expecting a fun-filled day. It was Harry's birthday. We came to know that McDonald's was celebrating the birthday of one of their old mascots as well. So we decided it just made sense to hit up the place and try the new shake that was being served. I wonder if any of us are gonna go missing after drinking a Grimace shake. Dude, knock it off. I hate TikTok. I replied as I unbuckled my seatbelt. Yeah, but it's pretty cool how viral it got, right? Like no one's ever recorded it and not had it end with some kind of horrible result. We went inside and were greeted by the smell of greasy foods and the chatter of customers. A few of them were drinking the new Grimace shake. Overall, it was the same atmosphere as most McDonald's. Just people going about their lives eating convenient food with the occasional really excited kid. I stepped up to the counter with the others. Fries and Grimace shake for me, please. I'll have a McChicken and one Grimace shake. Make it two, please. The young woman taking our orders was friendly and all smiles.
You all want Grimace shakes?
Yeah, is anything gonna happen to us after we drink it?
What?
Don't mind him, he's kidding. After waiting for 10 minutes, our food was given to us. We grabbed our trays and went to sit at a table nearby. Turner smirked as he held up his cup. Alright, boys, to the end of our lives. Dude, you are way too into the Grimace meat. I put the straw to my own lips and took a sip of the purple shake. It tasted pretty much the same way everyone mentioned. Vanilla with a hint of berry of some kind. Not bad in any sense of the word, but nothing to write home about. Turner and Harry also looked a little disappointed with the shake's taste. Well, it was a McDonald's shake, guys. We weren't exactly getting gourmet ice cream. Harry said as he took a few fries and stuffed them in his mouth. The rest of the meal was spent talking about a new game that Harry got for his birthday. Let's go back to my place and play it tonight. We got up to leave when the young woman from the counter approached us. She gave a piece of paper to Harry. Dude, look at that. You got lucky on your birthday. I joked while elbowing him in the arm. Shut up. Harry smiled while unfolding the paper, expecting to see a number or something. Instead, it was written in pen.
If you deny him, he will follow you.
What the hell? This is some dumb prank. The woman walked away without waiting for a reply. And that's when I got goosebumps. Was the note just some kind of warning? I figured it probably was. I'm starting to get sick of this dumb trend. Let's go home, man. Time to kill some people in the virtual world. You think by him she meant Grimace? Oh, for heaven's sake, Grimace isn't even real. He was a character designed to sell food. We went back to the car. Getting into the driver's seat and buckling, I started checking the mirrors. But as I looked in the mirror, I saw a bulbous purple head sitting next to Harry in the back seats. It was Grimace. Grimace was sitting there staring through the mirror right at me. I whirled around suddenly, panicked at what I saw. That Harry was just sitting there by himself, giving me a strange look. What? What are you looking at? I turned back at the rearview mirror, but I didn't find Grimace. You good, bro? I looked at Turner and back at the rearview mirror, which showed Harry sitting by himself. Yeah, I'm fine. Thinking it was just my mind playing tricks on me, I pulled the car out of the parking lot. By the time we got to Harry's place, I didn't feel much like hanging out anymore, so I bid them a good night and drove home. Pulling into the driveway to my own apartment, I unbuckled and turned to open the door. To my horror, I saw Grimace standing right outside the window, just staring at me. I screamed and got out of the car from the passenger side door in a panic, but at the moment I came out of the car, Grimace had disappeared once again. I looked around the quiet neighborhood, but except for a few stray dogs, I saw no one on these empty streets. With trembling hands, I got inside my house, unlocking my front door. Maybe I should just take a shower to clear my mind. Turning on the hot water, I had expected it to help me snap back to my senses. Instead, I watched, horrified, as a stream of purple liquid shot from the faucet and all over my body. I jumped out of the shower and grabbed a towel and tried to wipe off the purple liquid, but I couldn't get it off. It was stuck on my body. Oh God, this can't be real! Suddenly, I felt sick, sicker than ever before. I leaned over the toilet and began to vomit. An endless stream of purple bile came out of my mouth. For several minutes, I gagged and vomited my entrails out. The more I tried convincing myself that this all isn't real, the worse my health got. When the vomit finally stopped, I collapsed on the floor feeling weak. I started dragging my weak body to my bed by crawling on the bathroom floor. I was almost out when I felt ticklish on my feet. I slowly turned my head and saw Grimace standing behind me. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. No, no, no!
Story 1. SCP-15.
I like going for a run after dinner every night. When I was in college, I was popular as the bravest boy in our gang. I've always been the risk-taker, adventurous type.
That's why
I live in a small town, and after my parents' death, I inherited their house. I created an office space for myself. I'm a professional gamer, and I write for a few tech websites. I was completely satisfied with my life until this happened. It was a warm Monday night. After dwelling with huge work pressure, I was dying to go out for a jog. As soon as I finished my dinner, I changed into my running clothes and started on the road. The area where I live is close to an abandoned factory site with dusty roads leading to the woods. After running for 5 to 7 minutes, I reached in front of the abandoned factory and stopped. I remembered my father telling me creepy stories about this factory. Many people in our town used to say this factory had a hidden space to run weird experiments. But one day, a fire broke out, and the entire place burned down. Since then, this plot has been an abandoned location. I watch the black, broken structure attentively. It still risks me to think some crazy people ran experiments here. I shrugged it off eventually and started to run again. I decided to make a round through the area surrounding this factory. This way, I will cover up a pretty big lap, and also going in a circle will help me find my way back home. I looked at my watch and saw it was 10:30 at night. The factory stood right in the middle of the ground.
Wait.
When I came closer to the entrance gate of the factory, I heard a noise. At first, I failed to spot it out, but the more I got to the entrance, the louder the sound got. It was the scream of a woman. My heart stopped right at that second. Did I hear that correctly? But before I could contemplate on that thought, the scream took place again. I turned to the factory immediately. The broken windows and shattered glass signified it had been abandoned for a long time. After a lot of hesitation, I started to walk towards the entrance. The weed-covered ground made it difficult to walk. The sound of wind and crickets chirping nearby gave me serious horror movie vibes. As I stood in front of the main door of the factory, something at the back of my mind kept telling me that I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, you should be
I pushed the half-broken door and tiptoed inside the building. A large empty hall stood in front of me. The floor was covered with dust and all kinds of dirt. At the end of the hall, I saw an iron stairway leading to the top floor, but the entire place seemed out of use. I was wondering if I should be going upstairs or not, just when I saw a thin ray of light coming from the floor under the staircase. All this time, I didn't notice it. I carefully walked to the area of the floor. I saw a square lid was placed on the floor. I could easily understand that this lid is nothing but a doorway to the basement area. Now, I've heard enough weird stories about the experiments that used to take place under this factory. I even heard about a secret lab residing under this property. I got down on my hands and knees and lifted the lid to peek inside. I wanted to know what was happening down there. What I saw terrified me for life. There were 6 to 7 people dressed weirdly. They were standing surrounding a cage, and inside the cage stood a gigantic evil creature. Its entire body was black, but its eyes were like lightning bolts. The lights I saw earlier were coming from its huge, bright eyes. The creature kept screaming in a squeaky voice, and the men tried to keep him contained in that cage. Suddenly, my phone rang and the creature looked right at me. I felt like I just went blind for a few seconds. A man said, "Don't look at the eyes! You must never look at the eyes of SCP-15.
Why are you showing us this?
I got up and started to run for my life. It took me some time to adjust my vision, but I didn't stop. When I reached home, I got inside and closed the door right behind me. Since that night, I started to experience some weird changes in myself. No matter how much I ate or worked out, I kept losing weight rapidly. My neighbor, Mrs. Sherman, got shocked seeing me one day. "Oh my God, Jeremy, are you suffering from a serious illness?" "No, I have no idea, Mrs. Sherman," I said in a feeble voice. I went to my family doctor and many other doctors as well, but no one was able to detect what was happening to me. One night, I was sitting in my kitchen having dinner. Suddenly, I saw a black shadow moving in my backyard. My stomach dropped in fear. The door leading to the backyard is right beside my kitchen area. The black shadow rushed towards the door and I saw the doorknob twisting on its own. I ran to hold the door to prevent whoever was trying to get inside. I almost slammed on the door, and as I looked to the window, a pair of floodlights flashed behind the glass window. It was the same creature I saw that night under the abandoned factory. I was standing face to face with this devil. The only obstacle between us was my wooden door. I knew the door was nothing to this giant. How could he have just followed me? I screamed for help, but there was no one to hear my cry. The dark, evil giant then banged hard on the door. I got pushed with a huge force and fell on the floor. The door broke down in front of my eyes. SCP-15 stood right in front of me. It opened its huge mouth. I saw sharp yellow teeth flashing inside its huge jaw. I screamed because I knew this is probably the last scream of my life, and then fainted on the ground. I woke up in a hospital bed 2 days after the incident. I was shocked to find myself alive. I asked the doctor if anyone found the creature that attacked me. She looked at me with mysterious eyes. "What do you think happened to you, Mr. Smith?" Convincingly, I said, "I was attacked! That devil attacked me! Didn't any of you see him? He has huge, bright eyes! God, his eyes!" The doctor said, "Calm down, Jeremy. You were found unconscious in your house. There were signs of a break-in at your back door. Your neighbor came to see you and thought you had been robbed and beaten. That's why they brought you here. Don't you remember any of that?" My eyes stunned in fear. I looked at the window and said, That means he's still out there."
Have you ever heard of the legendary tale of the Super Mario Bros?
The iconic plumbers with their signature red and green attire that every kid marvels at when playing Nintendo. I'm not sure myself that this is indeed fact or fiction.
Oh, that's
but
what
from my own
got
judgment,
me.
I can't rule out its legitimacy. I heard this story decades ago, and it was told from a friend of mine. We'll call the individual involved Rick for anonymous purposes. Rick was in his late teens, around the age of hitting full puberty, morphing from boy to man. He was 18 years old to be exact, but was still a kid at heart, because he would occasionally do sleepovers at his friends' places. Near the tail end of his high school days, he befriended this guy named Luigi. It was rumored that Luigi had an older brother named Mario, and no one really knew the likes of him, as he was considered a closed-off weirdo who isolated himself often. Rick never really knew Mario, despite being close friends with Luigi. It was said through word of mouth that Luigi and Mario were both high school dropouts who fished to be plumbers early on since school wasn't their strong suit. The brothers would eventually move in together at a 2-story house, occupied with Luigi taking top floor and Mario taking bottom. Whenever Rick kicked it at Luigi's place, there was never any talk or acknowledgement of Mario. Until one night, on one Friday evening, the pair decided to order an extra-large pizza to go along with their movie later that night. While Luigi sorted through his box of VHS tapes, Rick was in charge of purchasing the pizza.
"Hello, this is Pizza Hut. How may I take your order?"
"Yeah, give me an extra large with every topping on the menu, man. Oh, except pineapple."
"Alright, is there anything else I can help you with, sir?"
Maybe just be generous with the toppings, especially the mushrooms. Thank you, dude. A few minutes later, Rick and Luigi settle on the living room couch while awaiting their pizza. Rick curiously asks Luigi, "Hey dude, how come your brother never leaves the basement? Like, does he ever go out?"
"I thought I told you not to mention his name."
Sorry, dude, I couldn't help but ask. Did you want to invite him up here to join?
Stop asking about him! What's the matter with you?
The doorbell rings, and that's when the pizza guy arrives. Rick heads over to the foyer and pays the delivery man with a few dollar bills. The time was approximately 11 p.m. when the pair began to indulge in the extra-large mountain of cheesy goodness topped by the finest toppings. But from that point on, things took a sadistic turn for the worst. Luigi began to go on a verbal rampage as he spotted something extremely wrong with the pizza, saying,
Why the hell did you order mushrooms on the pizza? He can smell it from down there!
What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about, dude?
Don't eat it! I'm warning you! He'll kill us all!
Are you talking about your brother, Mario?
We have to take all the mushrooms off the pizza, now, before it's too late!
Okay. The pair began to frantically pluck every last bit of mushrooms off the pizza to set aside. It was known that no one, not even Luigi, had seen his own brother in over a year, despite living under the same roof. They apparently had a falling out over a similar situation where a past guest ordered pizza with mushrooms. Despite all that, Luigi made his way down the dark and creaky basement with his flashlight. The room was filled with complete darkness, with not even a light switch in sight.
Mario, where are you? It's me, Mario. Where are you? It smells like shit down here. And why the hell is there a damn well in the middle of the basement?
Luigi then flashes his light in the corner of the room and notices Mario standing face first against the wall while murmuring some kind of gibberish to himself.
I need to expand. I need to grow bigger. I need mushrooms.
Luigi then crouches with the bowl in his hand and sets it on the ground while nervously saying,
Long time no see, bro. I'm leaving the mushrooms here, okay, Mario? Oh, it's me, Mario!
Without any hesitation, Luigi makes a run for it up the stairs and resumes his sleepover with Rick. The pair began to watch a movie while devouring their slices of pizza. Rick could tell Luigi was a little shaken up, but decided not to address the matter. Instead, he stuffed his face even further. A quarter way through the movie, Rick asks Luigi,
Hey dude, can I have the last slice? Sure, dude. Wait, don't eat that!
Luigi catches himself mid-sentence as he spots a mushroom on the pizza slice, but his warning was unfortunately late by a millisecond.
It's me, Mario! No! Ah!
Raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
It may seem a little strange, but one of my favorite hobbies is driving on the road. Many people are afraid of falling asleep or making long and tedious trips that would bother anyone, but that was not the case for me. I always found an enormous peace traveling alone on the road, a chance to find myself and feel a peace that in the hustle and bustle of the city is impossible to find. Even after that fateful day, I still enjoy traveling alone. The problem I had on that dark and cold March night was that I was unknowingly not alone. I remember how that day I was going to the beach to meet my nephews. I asked for a vacation from my job and went full speed ahead. The road was long and lonely, but it was nothing I hadn't done before. When I reached the dark road, I slowed down and just enjoyed the ride. But something interrupted my peace. As I was driving, a silhouette crossed my path and I had to dodge it, but I still felt like I hit something. I braked violently and my car almost went off the road, but I managed to control it and hold on. I looked out the window, and there I saw it. A dead animal was lying on the side of the road. Aw, poor thing. I've always been an animal person, and would never turn my back on a wounded one. But this deer-like animal was definitely dead. There was nothing I could have done about it. I restarted my car and went on my way. After I turned the car back on, something felt different. Not only did the car feel heavier, but I felt like something was bothering me. I had a bad feeling. I started thinking about the animal I had seen a few seconds before. I was sure I had dodged it. I mean, accidents happen. It wasn't the first time that had happened to me, but something was different. I never saw the animal hit the car, and the blow was not felt from the front. Besides, how did the animal end up on the side of the road? I had too many questions, and unfortunately, I was going to find the answers. I looked in the rearview mirror to make sure I was okay after the impact, and instead of seeing the mirror, I saw it. A face was peering out from above my roof. His piercing eyes were staring at me from above the roof, to which he was clinging with his huge, inhuman arms. Aware that I had spotted him, he didn't let me react, and stretched his hand through my window, trying to attack me. I managed to dodge it, but my car spun out of control and ended up in the dirt on the side of the road. The creature flew into a bush in front of me, and I lost sight of it.
Just drive away.
Scared, I started the car again, and before backing up, I saw it again. In front of me, it moved from one bush to another in a strange, animalistic way, as if it were a spider. Anyone else would think I had just encountered a monster, but I remember from my medical school days seeing this type of person. His arms and legs were completely disproportionate to the rest of his body. He was extremely tall, and his hands looked huge. This person was a human being with Marfan syndrome. I started to back the car up to get out of there, but then I heard it again, the same thump I felt when I saw the dead animal. At that moment, I realized that that noise did not mean I had run over it. That animal had been there for a long time. The thump I heard was the sound of its killer climbing onto my roof. At full speed, I closed the driver's window just in time to prevent his hand from going back through the window. But even so, I didn't manage to break the rearview mirror on the way. Quickly, I looked at the passenger window. It was also open. I closed it and found him there, face to face, looking at me, separated by a window that 2 seconds before was open. We both held each other's gaze. He began to lick the window in my direction, filling it with saliva. Within seconds, he got upset and tried to bite it. After that, he paced the car from place to place before my bewildered eyes. I didn't know how to react. I knew I couldn't accelerate the car and leave until he got out of it. I might be facing a human, but he was totally insane. In the midst of my thoughts, this person started hitting the car from above wildly. I started it up again and tried to get back on the road, but the car stalled halfway. It seemed that the skidding from before and the pounding had taken an effect. Come on, really? You're gonna fail me now? At that moment, I thought I was going to die. This was supposed to be just a vacation trip where I was going to see my family, and now I was destined to die for no reason on an abandoned road at the hands of a psychiatrically unstable person. Suddenly, the rearview mirror inside the car gave me one more hope. In the distance, the lights of a car were shining and moving slowly. That was my only chance. Finding another car on the road was a great rarity. I tried to start the engine with all my might, and as the noise distracted my attacker, I opened the door and sped off as fast as I could. Halfway there, I turned around and saw him chasing me. He was no longer on all fours. He was standing on his 2 feet, and at great speed, he was chasing me, moving his arms up and down in a strange way. The man quickly caught up to me with inhuman speed and grabbed me by the hair, pulling me back. I fell to the ground, and my attacker tried to pull me by the hair to the deepest part of the path. But I grabbed a rock on the way and smashed it into his ankle. Groaning in pain, he let go of me, and just as the car was pulling up, I crossed the road, and he stopped.
Hey, you okay, honey?
Please, I need help. Take me out of here now.
Wow, tough night, sweetheart.
Just drive, now.
Sure, hon? Did someone try to kidnap you or something?
Yes, please, just drive.
Jakob.
The man kept staring at me and asking me uncomfortable questions. He was clearly a pervert, but at this point, I was satisfied that he wasn't trying to kill me. The man dropped me off at the nearest town. The next day, I recounted that a mental patient attacked me, and when we went to get my car, it was destroyed. I rescued some of my belongings. I never knew about that maniac, but after researching the area, I found out that there was a mental asylum hidden on the outskirts of a nearby town. In the movies, mental patients escape when there are power outages or disturbances in the place, but real life is much more bitter. This asylum is usually the kind of place where you go in and don't come out. The poor living conditions and lack of concern for the patients who wander in and out of the place makes it a very dangerous establishment. I also learned that the families don't visit the patients, and the staff constantly abuses them. This man, who managed to escape and attacked me that night, looked like a monster, an animal, a beast. The cruel truth is that he was nothing like that. Over time, I began to feel sorry for him, because just like me that day, he was nothing more than a victim.
Ah! So like, I think we're just gonna check out another one. Caught my attention. Like, I just wanna watch it. Hey, Dupont. Those people are real.
I don't know how I'm still alive. I mean, it's all coming back to me now. How I didn't listen to my sister, even though she told me several times not to drive home.
This is post all day. Guys, if you guys watch this movie, right, then they're like, this is my childhood movie, but you will know who those people are, bro. But anyways, let's continue.
Several times not to drive home that night.
It was a birthday party, which unfortunately fell on a weekday. The next day was Wednesday, and I had a very important presentation at the office. So when Emily said,
"Why don't you crash right here? You can get up early and drive home tomorrow. It's not safe to drive through those woods so late, Peter."
You know I can't do that. I have to go home tonight. I have a big speech tomorrow, and I worked too hard for this presentation.
But it's 2:30 already. By the time you get to the Crooked Creek, it'll be the witching hour.
Witching hour? What era are you living in, Emily?
Look, Peter, I don't care what you think about me, but it's too risky. People have reported seeing weird things on that road.
Like what? Ghouls and demons? Ooh.
Joke all you want, but 3 people from our town have already gone missing while driving that road late at night. The cops couldn't even find their car. Some say Satanists perform a ritual in those woods at the witching hour. A farmer from the outskirts said that he saw a man crossing the road while wearing a deer head.
My God!
I got up, exhaling a sigh of disappointment, and said,
I live in the modern era, Emily. So, no matter how many scary stories you narrate, I'm gonna drive myself home tonight. All your bullshit fear is making me more adamant to do this.
When Emily realized none of her superstitions will work, she gave up. I bid goodnight to everyone and grabbed my jacket to show myself out. Tomorrow is a big day, and that's all I need to focus on right now. Emily accompanied me to the door, and before I left, she kissed me on the cheek and said,
"No matter what you do or see, just don't get out of your car, okay?"
Come on, you...
Peter, I am done arguing with you. Just promise me you won't get out of the car no matter what. Swear to me.
Guys,
fine, I swear
guys,
on you.
Whatever you guys see
now,
now,
stop worrying so much. I'm gonna be just fine.
I don't care if
I gave her a
something
warm
asking
hug and wished her a happy birthday.
Asking
one more
you,
time.
please help, guys. Don't
She watched me drive away in my red Chevy.
So
the roads were completely deserted. In this part of town, you will hardly find traffic after sunset. So in a way, I was glad that I would reach home without any hurdles. The moon was hiding in the clouds, and obviously, there were no street lights. My car headlights were the only thing that were illuminating the way. All the creepy stories Emily told me didn't scare me then, but now, this dark, empty road started to spook me a bit. I rolled down the window and played some music to lighten up the mood. Everything was going fun until I reached the Crooked Creek. Having too many drinks and water later to sober myself up, I felt the urge to pee. I didn't want to stop earlier, thinking I would be able to manage, but it turned out to be an emergency. I stopped the car, got out, and walked to this nearby bush to lose some weight. I was doing my business when I heard a rustling sound, as if someone is running at me at full speed. Being scared, I turned around immediately. A shadowy figure moved on the other side of the road, and soon, a man dressed in a pretty weird manner surfaced from that darkness. He was standing on the opposite side, but the road was not too vast. I could see him quite clearly. The car headlights helped me to get a clear picture, even in that dark. Remember these characters? Thompson and Thompson from Adventures of Tintin?
You see, yeah.
The man was dressed
Thompson and Thompson. Ask in my language is
He wore a black suit with a hat. On one hand, he had a briefcase. On the other hand, he had an umbrella. His face was pale and blank, like he only looked human, but was a completely different creature inside. I kid you not. In that scary ambiance, his sudden appearance gave me goosebumps. If I haven't peed earlier, I would have surely peed on myself. I didn't want to sound scared because I realized I am standing outside my car, which is a few feet away. Deciding not to do anything stupid at that point, I got my shit together. I called out to him.
Hello, mister. Do you need any help?
The man didn't say anything, just looked behind him, turning his head in slow motion like someone or something else was controlling him. He then slowly turned back at me and nodded his head from left to right, gesturing no. But he also didn't walk away. Without wasting any more time, I took a step to go to my car. That's when the man started to run at me at full speed.
Holy shit!
But I was quick, like a pro. Before he could get to me, I almost threw myself into the car and locked the door. He stopped right next to my window, and finally, I got a glimpse of his entire face. He had white paint smeared on his face. He had no eyebrows and blue, glassy eyes. I was panting in fear, not regretting my decision not to listen to Emily. The man watched me for a few moments and then looked ahead like something was out there, waiting. And that's when things changed into horror from just being creepy. The man started to run ahead of my car, and suddenly, another man dressed exactly like him came out of the dark and followed. I put my car into drive, and the two men ran even faster. What happened next will be forever stepped into my memory. The two black-suited men rushed to the other side of the road near a bush, and a group of freaky-looking men, all dressed the same way, came out. I realized it was a trap they all have set. The 7 to 8 black-suited men started to jump and howl, scaring the shit out of me. Right then, far away in that field, a red flare light lit up, spotting another man. And then, from the other side of the road, a tall man wearing a deer head with huge antlers walked right in front of my car to join that freaky group of men. While walking, he stared at me, and I felt they were all waiting for that one chance to get to me, which luckily, they didn't. As soon as the deer-headed man crossed the road, I hit hard on the accelerator and sped like a road runner. I only stopped when I reached home. I couldn't sleep the entire night and kept checking out from my window, fearing those black-suited men must have followed me home. I am glad they didn't. So, for a little suggestion, if you happen to drive by the Crooked Creek after dark, just don't get out of your car in the middle of the road. I don't know what those men were up to that night, but I do believe that they were there for a sacrifice to perform some scary ritual.
Guys, like, I think that we're gonna check one last one. So here we go. We're going to check another one. Here we go. Sleep paralysis. Yo, this story and sleep paralysis. Guys, it's no joke.
My name is Christina, and today is my first day seeing a psychologist. I've always been a troubled kid, but I've never actually needed to see someone to justify that. Well, not until now. A few weeks back, something happened. Even now, it's hard for me to think about it, even though I know I will have to. I can't just pretend everything is fine. I was at a house party with a couple of my friends. Tom and Alice were taking shots by my side as I watched on, a little
That's how you
worried.
dance, like a crocodile.
Admittedly, the two of them often overdid the drinking, so I usually stayed sober to make sure they'd be okay. Instead of drinking, you should try lucid dreaming. Alice cackled as she threw back another shot, tossing her head back as well. I gagged at the sight of pure alcohol coming from her. It wasn't long until she vomited and regretted all of her life choices. As her best friend, it was my duty to take care of her. She always said she would do the same for me one day. But that day, I shake my head, trying not to feel too much anger for my friend. She was drunk after all. Lucid dreaming? I asked, because really, I wanted to at least sound cool. Only, I had no idea what this lucid dreaming thing was. Yeah, you try to sleep on your back and meditate or whatever. It's like getting high. Apparently you can fly and stuff when you sleep like that. Control your movements, eat, whatever. For how drunk she was. Alice
So I was
explained the
lucid dreaming.
concept
I also
well
had
enough,
something similar
and
like
then
that. Like
barfed the last
I
few
slept on
shots
my
out
back
into the
and then
trash
I
can
couldn't move.
before going in for another.
But yeah.
You should just sleep here, Cindy, the host said, laying a hand on my shoulder. I stepped away, while she managed to walk in a straight line. She was clearly wasted as well. But she was right. I didn't feel very comfortable driving a puking Alice and Tom who was probably up to no good. Crashing on a bed and going back home the next morning sounded like a much better idea.
Yeah.
And so,
Just what if there's spirits in
with
other
the
people's
music
houses?
still echoing
Be
off
careful,
the
guys.
walls, I curled up in Cindy's bed, only to be reminded of lucid dreaming again. I've never gotten high, and part of me wanted to at least try. What could go wrong, right?
Everything.
I grabbed my phone and did some research. I shouldn't have done that, but minutes later, I was listening to an audio that was sure to help me lucid dream. As the reliable friend, I wanted to just do something crazy for once. I should have just had a couple shots. See, as I listened to the crooning male voice coax me to relax, I became hyper-aware of my body. It felt weird, forcing myself to keep still, to stop wiggling my toes, to make my fingers stop clutching the blanket over me. Finally, it started. I felt as if I was anchored to the bed. The man from the audio said it was okay. All I needed was to push myself off, to take flight. But I couldn't. I tried to wiggle my toes at first, but they refused to move. My neck, too, felt as if it had glued to the cushion. The music still continued, as loud as ever. With the audio stopping, I could hear it again. But I couldn't react to it. I was paralyzed. I'd never heard of anything like this happening. But then again, I rarely dreamt. So, being in such a state was fascinating at first. I was hyper-aware of everything going on around me. The heat of my blanket covering me, the noises, the way my chest rose and fell. My eyes, they were stuck open too, although all I could see was the ceiling. I tried to push myself away, once again, but nothing happened. And then, I heard it. A scream. Alice! Alice! I wanted to shout, knowing it was her, but my throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton. Breathing became a chore as I realized just how dry my mouth was.
So that's why I was also
As
I
if
was
it
experiencing
stuck
this, but when I
open
tried
too.
to scream, but
Maybe it was, but there was nothing I could do about it. Alice barged into the room, nearly tearing the door off the hinges. She wasn't herself. I knew that, but still.
What the? Did you really do it? Huh. Look at the loser. Christina, can you move?
I tried my hardest to nod, fearing the person I had thought to be my friend, but nothing happened.
Gosh, look at you. Too smart for drugs, so you decided to get high in a different way. Huh. I've always wanted this. To see you motionless.
This is not Alice, I thought to myself. But the way she leaned over me, her face obstructing my sight, made it hard to believe it wasn't Alice's perfectly manicured nails. And they seemed much longer, like claws, as she dragged them down the wall, creating deep scratches. The sound pierced my ears. It was like chalk against a chalkboard. I shuddered as those very nails wrapped around my face. But suddenly, the figure above me wasn't Alice anymore. Her features seemed to contort into something strange, inhumane almost. Makeup melted off her face, blending in with her skin until all that was left on her face was just black and nothing else. Her laughter, though, kept ringing in my ears. I felt pressure on my chest as if she was pushing down, and then I realized no, the creature was sitting on me. I'm going to suffocate, I thought, panic coursing through my entire body. Normally, this should have been enough, I was sure, for someone to snap out of this nightmare, but it wasn't for me. Alice cackled, showing teeth that I knew did not belong to her. They were yellow and disgusting, dripping with blood. The monster. No, Alice. No, the monster. It was going to bite me. I was sure of that, but I just couldn't move. My voice was still lost, but I struggled to at least scream, but all I managed was a quiet whine. And no help came. Alice, please, don't do this. I begged her in my mind.
You always spoil my fun, Christina. Why do you even come with us if you don't like partying? Such a spoiled sport. You know what we do with people like you?
Her voice was sweet like honey, but I felt nails press into my throat. I maniacally started to move again. I needed to at least roll away before I would get cut. We drowned then. Water. Suddenly, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even see anything, but it felt like water was enveloping my head from all sides. It burnt at my eyes, snuck into my nose, gurgled down my throat. I felt as if nothing but water existed around me. And then, I woke up. But when I did, I was the one with fingers around someone's throat. Alice leaned over me, shock clear on her face. My grip tightened. I could move, but I was reluctant to peel them off, even as her face started to turn blue, as tears gathered in her eyes, as she stopped breathing. At first, I watched her go limp, fall, stiff from my hold on the wooden floor, head crashing painfully against the nightstand. I was certain I was still dreaming, paralyzed, so I pinched myself. My nails had little bits of skin stuck underneath them. The pinch hurt. Crap, Alice. It was too late. She was bleeding too much and too quickly. It must have been the cut on her head that killed her. But the marks around her neck were on display too. No matter how hard I tried to scrub them off before the door opened again. It was Tom, with 2 glasses of water. He was the one who called the police on me. The next day or so was a blur. Well, all these weeks had been, really. Alice was killed. By me.
Wow.
Apparently she'd gone upstairs to check on me, to make sure I was all right, because she had heard me screaming. And I killed her. I begged the policeman to understand that I had been paralyzed, that something else was controlling me. But why would anyone believe me? The ratty nerd who always envied her darling popular friend. The girl who never dared to do much but watch her friends have fun.
See guys, that's why you must always have fun.
Here I am now, locked up, ready for my first time in therapy. In jail. Apparently, what had happened could still be ruled an accident. I could be freed after a few years.
Yes.
But what if history will repeat itself? Ever since then, I only sleep when I collapse out of exhaustion. I try to keep my mind busy, hoping that I never fall into that weird, possessed paralysis thing again. But it's getting harder and harder. I fear that one night I will fall asleep early, and I'll hurt someone again. Or hurt myself. Who knows? Anything can happen in that twisted state.
Hey guys, I see many of you commenting on my videos that this
Okay guys. Oh my back. A scale of 1 to 10. I'll give that thing a 3.
I'm currently living together
Like
with my
this.
best friend. One day, while we were sleeping, she suddenly screamed and jumped up from the bed. I asked what happened and she explained what she had just experienced. So she got a sudden sleep paralysis when she was sleeping. She couldn't move her body at all. Moaning, she called my name desperately and said, "Help me, I think I got sleep paralysis. Give me a hug if you can hear my voice." Just then, someone started to press on her chest with an unbelievable, tremendous force. And she replied with my voice, to be exact. Like this? Like this? And my voice sounded like frantically, she said. 2. The ticking sound. One day in the middle of the late night, I woke up to the sudden sound of the clock ticking. And what I realized right after I opened my eyes was that there was no clock at all in my room. As soon as I recognized the fact, the ticking sound coming from my room suddenly began to be heard, like an offbeat. You know, the ghosts could make the sound of ticking. 3. The computer in the motel room.
Some of you,
Because of my work, I had to stay at a motel one night. While I was sleeping for a long time, I suddenly saw the computer turning on automatically around 4 a.m. On top of everything else, internet broadcasting suddenly started. I thought something was weird, but I was so tired that I was almost going back to sleep. Then I heard the sudden voices of 2 men on the computer.
Wow, 22 people are watching now.
Terrified, I immediately turned off the computer right away. 4. The coincidence. I experienced this myself once before. While I was sleeping, I had a dream of someone pulling me roughly. Surprised, I swung at someone that pulled me in my dream with my fist and then woke up. And when I opened my eyes, I was hanging on the balcony railing, and my mother was pulling me desperately. Her nose was bleeding, and I realized that it was my mom who pulled me in my dream at that moment to save my life. What was more surprising was that one of the female students jumped to her death from our apartment at that daybreak.
Let's do it. Let's go! Not everything we see in sleep paralysis is a hallucination.
My name is Amber, and ever since my childhood, I've experienced sleep paralysis a lot more than the average person. And let's just say, it's one of the most unpleasant things you can experience. Since childhood, I've always had vivid hallucinations when I was experiencing sleep paralysis, and they've always scared me, even to this day. This story is one of the most terrifying things that have and ever will happen to me in my lifetime.
Your eyebrows on point though.
It all started in late January. I had just moved into this new house in a small village on the island of Hawaii. My house was near a deep pond, and I got it for a good deal because it was supposedly haunted, and no one else wanted to purchase it.
That's
but
a
I
clue.
never really believed in the paranormal or anything like that. So I just saw the good deal on a decent-sized house and took it.
No, girl.
A few weeks after buying the house, a big snowstorm hit one night, causing the power to go out.
In Hawaii? The power just went off.
I couldn't see a thing, so I decided that I would head to bed early and get an early start on unloading boxes the next day.
Don't investigate.
I hopped into bed, pulled my blankets over me, and fell asleep in the pitch black room. I woke up to the noise of tapping at my window.
No! Don't look.
Oh! Oh my gosh.
I tried to get up, but realized I couldn't move at all.
What is that?
Sleep paralysis took over my whole body. The strange boy kept staring at me. His eyes were pitch black, as if he had no pupils. He had a wide, inhuman, devilish grin, and his teeth were huge. I was terrified and wanted to scream, but I couldn't and was forced to watch him.
Oh my gosh.
I kept telling my mind that it was just a hallucination, but it was a lot more vivid than any other hallucination that I had ever had. Then in a split second, he was gone.
He's gone.
I calmed myself, thinking it's all going to be over soon now. My fear started to rise when I heard the noise of clanging in the kitchen.
No.
Did he break into my house? I was getting paranoid. I couldn't move. I strained my eyes to try to see the bedroom door through the darkness, and I could see something. A figure standing on the other side of my bedroom door.
Oh.
He slowly opened the door. It was the boy.
Run!
I could hear every footstep he made. He continued to creep towards my bed, and I could see his devilish grin from the corner of my eye.
Ew.
He just stood there for minutes. It was lasting longer than any sleep paralysis I had ever experienced. I felt that I was about to die. I was just praying it would be over soon.
I thought it was a flag.
My prayers were answered,
It's over.
and I was finally able to move again. The boy was gone. The next morning when I woke up, I felt something strange as I walked on the carpet. The carpet was soaking wet. And at that point, it hit me. Was it really a hallucination? Or did someone actually come into my room last night? I shared this incident with some of the neighbors, and it turns out there was a spooky story about the pond near my new house.
Wow.
Back in 1947, a group of kids were playing on the banks of the pond. One boy accidentally tripped over a log and fell into the water. Before any of the other children could react, the boy sank beneath the water surface. For a few moments, they waited for him to resurface, but there was no sign of him. Horrified, they ran back to the village to get help. Some local men came as fast as they could and dived into the pond, searching for the young boy. They were terrified by what they found. The boy was sitting on a rock at the very bottom of the pond. His arms were hanging down by his sides, and his body was swaying back and forth with the currents. His eyes were wide, and his mouth was hanging open, but he was dead in the water. The eerie sight sent shivers down the spines of the men who had dived in to save him. They were deeply disturbed and said it was such an unusual way to drown. It was as if the boy had calmly sat down on the rock and waited there to die. Ever since, bizarre rumors began to spread around the area. Many villagers believed that the ghost of the drowned boy lurked beneath the deep waters of the pond. They said that at night he would come to the surface cold, wet, and shivering. His icy hands clutching at unsuspecting victims and trying to pull them into his watery grave. According to the rumors, he was trapped in this world by accident, and the only way he could escape was to find someone else to take his place at the bottom of the pond.
What?
As I mentioned before, I don't really believe in the paranormal, but that creeped the hell out of me. After that, I put my house up for sale as I am no longer able to sleep peacefully in this house. A strange, eerie feeling always keeps me restless. but unfortunately so far no one has come to view the house or made any offers, as it was famous for being haunted.
Yeah, they're not
My
crazy.
current situation does not allow me to rent a house, so I am stuck here. I just hope I am able to get out of this place.
October 21st. Halloween day. Just several days shy before Halloween.
First,
My anticipation grew higher and higher as I planned to host a Halloween party at my place. I remember setting up a Facebook event and inviting my close friends and coworkers to join the party. My friend Dave would usually be the one to host these kind of events, but unfortunately he couldn't do it this year as his parents were having renovations done at their house. While setting up the event, I didn't take into consideration that my parents were extremely against Halloween festivities. They would always lecture me on why Halloween was a holiday only made for kids who wanted to go to hell and worship the devil. What made things more frustrating was how they kept the same beliefs until now, despite me being in my late teens. One night, I noticed my mom sitting in the living room watching TV. I began to approach her direction while trying to muster up any plausible excuse that would persuade her in the favor of my party idea. I casually hovered over her saying, "Hey, Mom, just in case Dad didn't tell you today, I just wanted to say that you look very beautiful."
What the hell do you want, George?
What?
You're not usually this nice, so spit it out, whatever you have to say.
Can I invite my friends over for Halloween this
Get
year?
the hell out of my face!
I remember heading to my bedroom while pouting under my breath on how I was living such an unfair life. I sat in front of my computer and began sulking for the remainder of the night as I messaged the bad news to my friend Dave. As I embarrassingly addressed the issue, Dave responded back by suggesting that we purchase an Airbnb instead of hosting the party at someone's house. I thought it was a pretty smart idea, so we mutually agreed to get an Airbnb that was located somewhere more secluded and away from the suburban part of town. Feelings of excitement began exuberating throughout my body, as I couldn't help but feel exhilarated at the notion that I didn't have to deal with my parents' incompetence. Fast forward to October 31st and it was officially Halloween. I began driving towards the Airbnb destination about an hour or two after check-in, just so I could prep before the guests arrived. As I got closer to the destination, I remember seeing a decent-sized house that looked a tad run down. It didn't look like there were any other houses around, just a lot of tall trees and a scent of pine cones in the air. I figured it would add to the spooky ambiance considering this was Halloween. As I got inside, I immediately started setting up for the party while having a few glasses of alcohol on the side. A couple hours later, the sun was finally beginning to set, which meant that the guests were on their way to the party. I figured I'd dress as Georgie from the movie It, as my name was George, so pun intended. I texted and called my friend Dave, but unfortunately didn't get a response. I speculated that everyone was either unable to find the correct address or was just going to show up to this party fashionably late. That's when the living room TV begins to abruptly turn on. I then saw a bizarre message playing on the TV, as if it came straight out of the movie The Purge saying,
"This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the US government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials..."
What the hell is going on? I turn the TV off and immediately hear a knock coming from the front door. I opened the door and saw some kids shout, "Trick or treat!" Sorry guys, no candy here today. You suck, and wearing a raincoat isn't a costume, cheapskate. I'm dressed as Georgie, you idiot! I slammed the door shut and began to hammer down another drink.
Anger issues.
That's when I heard another knock at the door. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away! I'm not handing out any candy, you stupid kids! I angrily approached the door and looked through the peephole, only to see a group of people wearing purge masks while holding machetes. At first glance, I thought it was the guests from the party, but then I heard one of the guys say, "Maybe we can go through the backyard and take him out there." My heart began to submerge into my stomach. I turned off all the house lights and simultaneously darted across the living room to make sure that the backyard sliding door was locked. As I secured the lock handle, one of the purgers slammed his hand on the glass door while yelling, "Open the door, Georgie! Leave me alone or I'm calling the cops!"
Why'd you guys always
That's
say
when I
this?
grabbed a large blade from the knife set on the kitchen counter and ran towards the bedrooms. I then saw a red balloon hovering above the ground. I couldn't tell if I was hallucinating or not from the belligerent state that I was in. Nonetheless, I plowed through the hallway and locked myself in one of the bedrooms. As I glanced through the blinds of the bedroom window, I saw someone dressed as Pennywise dancing psychotically while staring in my direction. I heard nothing but the sound of my heart throbbing vigorously through my chest cavity. That's when I hear the closet door open behind me. I couldn't move a single muscle as I was honestly petrified to turn around. I then felt a soft tap on my shoulder with someone saying, "Hey, Georgie." Ah! How the hell did you get in here? You want a balloon, Georgie? What? Here, take it. Take it. Get away from me, clown! You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too! That's when the clown's mouth abnormally opens wide and begins to swallow my entire head. I felt like my life was slowly diminishing. Through my drunken haze, I dug the kitchen blade into the stomach of the clown despite not being able to see a thing. I could feel the hand that was digging at the clown's stomach become wet from the blood being shed everywhere. I then opened my eyes and realized that the mouth that was supposedly swallowing my head was none other than a brown paper bag being held by my friend Dave. Happy Halloween!
Thank you so much for watching. If you like, please like and subscribe. And happy 2020.